CD components at 60, Kia saves the ocean, EPA USA, JLR energy storage, Toyota grinds to a halt, all data have all the data, Volkswagen ID7. Hello, my name is Paul Callan and welcome to this week's Motors M News. Auto Trade Journal, which will land in your workshop pretty soon for the month of August. If you get a chance to take a little look at it this month, it's got an interesting supplement in it. The supplement is celebrating 60 years of CD components in Ireland. The company was started in 1963. It's currently run by Terry and Ian Knox. Their father run it, and then their grandfather started it in 1963. Interesting to see a company like this that's still owned and operated in Ireland, because we know the big operators are now here, people like Eurocar Parts LKQ, which is quoted in the American Stock Exchange, and companies like Alliance that took over JNS. So, it's nice to see an Irish company that's still operated here in Ireland with Irish people running it. And there's an interesting article in the supplement, and it's about their sales director who started with them in 1975, Hugo Murphy. And if you look at the supplement, it's got an Escort, a Mark 1 Escort on the cover. Now, Hugo says that he started in the company, he only was going to come in for temporary summer work, ended up staying, but one of the things that enticed him to stay was he got a second-hand Escort. Now, I don't know if the Escort on the front cover of the supplement is the car he got, but to me it looks like a 1600 Sport, and if that was the car, I can imagine that would have enticed any young man in 1975 to stay with a company. Kia are working on a project to clean up the Pacific Ocean. The organisation that they're working with is an organisation called Ocean Cleanup. They're a non-for-profit organisation, and they are going to work with them for 7 years in this cleanup project. Now, what's going to happen is this organisation, Ocean Cleanup, is going to collect plastics from the ocean. The Pacific Ocean is 1.6 million square kilometres. It's the size of France. And they're going to spend time and energy gathering the plastics from here, and then Kia are going to recycle those plastics and use them in their new EV cars. They reckon they're going to use 34 kilos of recycled plastic per car. So again, we hit on a story almost every week from car manufacturers really starting to take the environment seriously, and this is another example of it, whereby this plastic that is now such a scourge to the whole atmosphere is now being used productively by car companies and will continue to be reused. EPA in the USA, you don't mess with these guys. In Idaho, a company called Gorilla Performance, who effectively were doing DPF and EGR delete. I think we're all familiar enough with that here in Ireland. They were carrying out deletes, and they were selling software for other people to do the deletes. Well, they've just got fined $1 million in America. It looks like the EPA are moving on from the issues they had with companies like Volkswagen. They've dealt with most of the manufacturers, and now they're coming down to people who are modifying cars that are out there in the marketplace. And maybe this has been just used as an example, but they've identified that they reckon there's 15% of diesel trucks in America that are using some form of modified software that's affecting the emissions, and they're setting out to target that. JLR has done a deal with a company called Weeks Engineering, and this project is to do with energy storage. Weeks Engineering are a energy storage company, and what they do is they find mechanisms and ways to store solar and wind energy. And what they're doing with Jaguar is they're taking from the research and development cars and from the prototype cars batteries that Jaguar no longer want or need, and they're going to build them up into a storage system, and they reckon that 30 batteries will equal 2.5 megawatt hours of energy. The target is 7.5 megawatt hours of energy, and they say that will power 750 homes for a day. And they reckon they'll have this target met by the end of the year. This is again another interesting one from the point of view that the question is always, oh, what about the EV batteries at end of life? Jaguar saying that when a battery reaches 70 to 80% residual capacity, at that point it's no longer good enough to use in the car, but it has a whole new life as a storage battery. And that's the concept that's been developed here. So really, there is a constant life for the battery. It looks like that when it's no longer useful in the car, it will become very useful as a storage. So again, when we've got good wind or we've got good sunshine, we can now store this energy in these old used batteries from the cars, and then reuse the energy when required, when the necessity is there on the grid. In the last day or so, news has come through that Toyota production was stopped at 14 plants in Japan. And it's not quite clear exactly what's happened, but something fairly serious has happened. They're saying it's a malfunction in their Toyota production system, and they've ruled out a cyber attack. These 14 plants supply a third of the global production. Last year, these plants were hit with a cyber attack, but it was on the supply network. So it's a very unusual situation that 14 of these plants in Japan has been shut down for some reason, but we might have more news on that next week. ALLDATA is primarily seen as a supplier of OE wiring diagrams. And if there's one thing we know now about fixing cars in the modern car, data and information is crucial in terms of trying to get the labour content down on that job to some type of reasonable amount that you can charge it out. And ALLDATA has been very helpful in that it's been giving guys access to the OE wiring diagrams. But ALLDATA are more than that. And here's an example of a story that they put out this week, which is an independent workshop that calls their info centre because they were having a problem with a noise on a 2016 Transit 2-litre EcoBlue. The noise was only occurring when you drive the vehicle, and they were struggling to find where the noise was. The noise, there was nothing coming up in fault codes, there was nothing in that area, and they got on to ALLDATA Info Centre, and they came back with a bulletin that says there was an issue with an alternator pulley, and they told them to replace the alternator pulley, that it was creating the noise on it, and right enough that's what it was. So again, if a person has a subscription for ALLDATA, they need to think beyond just wiring diagrams, because they're also expanding it out to assist you in more ways than that. And these are the ways that you can in some way get the labour content down on jobs so that you can make some profit in charging it out. Volkswagen's new big electric car is almost ready to go. They're starting to take orders for it in Germany. The ID.7, 621 kilometres range on one charge. It's only available in one spec, the Pro spec, and they say the European price on it is €56,995. It is heavily loaded with active systems, driver assist systems, travel assist, lane assist, emergency assist, side assist, exit warning, 360 cameras. So it probably has got almost every single ADAS component on it that is possible to put on a car. So going to be interesting to see how the calibration of all these systems is going to work out in the next year or two as this car starts to roll out into the marketplace. It's got a 77 kilowatt hour battery. The motor is mounted on the rear axle and it's rear drive, 282 brake horsepower. So we're going to start seeing that in Volkswagen showrooms by the end of the year. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. And again, if you could please like, comment and subscribe. Really, really helpful. And if you could forward it on to anybody else you know in the trade that might be interested in what we're doing. We're getting lots of likes there on LinkedIn. They're really appreciated. It really is a sense of encouragement when you see likes building up on one of our shows. So if you could give us that thumbs up, it would really be appreciated. Thanks for that and see you next week.